is how this works, basically. I put the entire slide up so you can fill in the blank, and then we just kind of look at it and see if there's if you have any questions or if there's anything else I want to say about it. So you probably noticed that they spent a lot more time. This is actually focused on Pluto, the used to be the last planet, and the blue planets, which of course is Uranus and Neptune. So I don't think I have a lot more to add there. And if I go too fast, let me know. Right? Next slide. Okay. Although he didn't, the movie didn't talk about Jupiter per se, he did mention Jupiter's Great Red Spot. And the Great Red Spot actually has been going for 3 centuries, so that's what, 300 years?
So is there lightning in those storms and everything?
I think I've seen animations where there are.
Oh yeah, the animation, that's why.
Yeah.
I have a question on related to this slide. The moon lab is due tonight, right?
The what?
The moon lab is due tonight, right?
The labs are, you need to have 2 labs. Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, the 18th?
Yeah, the 18th for 2 labs, and then like in November, before Thanksgiving for the other 2 labs.
Okay.
So, yep. So, any questions about that? I think we're okay. I liked, and it wasn't up there very long, but if I could animate this, if I could animate Jupiter, you would actually see, like this slide shows you, kind of band, you know, the going this way, then this way, and it kind of alternates. I think that is so cool. You can almost see where storms could be created there. Kind of a mixing of the 2. And for you meteorology people, you know, on Earth we talk about the Coriolis effect or Coriolis force because the Earth is spinning. It's the same thing there. So this is kind of a bird's eye look at the 4 Jovian planets. Okay. I see some banding feature. That last picture up there, of course, he talked about Neptune, that great dark spot that would appear in the southern hemisphere, and then it would go away and be in the northern hemisphere. So that's pretty cool. Moons. Yes, please. So each of the gas planets have a series of moons that orbit them. Your textbook does a good job of taking the moons and kind of breaking them out into, this says medium-sized and large moons, and then small moons. And the movie said something about the small moons, or said something about actually these planets can capture moons, just like random planetismals that kind of turn into a moon. And those are kind of the ugly, irregularly shaped ones that, like Mars has the ugly potato ones. But if they're large enough, they actually will kind of become spherical over time. All right. We good with that one? Okay. So, like I said, the small ones tend to look kind of like Mars' 2 moons, Phobos and Deimos. And so here's some pictures of small ones. But they're actually still players. Like I know Pandora, I'm pretty sure, makes, in Saturn, it makes a hole in the rings. All right, so then I have a series of slides, and the video did not talk about Jupiter. So, of course, the video did not talk about Jupiter's moons. There are 4 very large moons that orbit Jupiter that Galileo saw, so they're called the Galilean moons. So the closest of the 4 actually is Io, and this is a photograph of what Io looks like. It's got the little pox marks on it. And Io actually, the reason it's still nice and toasty, and actually it has like volcanic activity, is because of what we call tidal heating. And these 2 slides over here are kind of showing you tidal heating. Okay, so if that's ever a question, why is Io still active? It's because basically it flexes when it comes near one of its fellow Galilean moons. It kind of flexes out, and then when it passes them, it resumes its normal shape. So it flexes out, resumes its shape, flexes out, resumes its shape. Okay, and it passes near its buddies. And it's kind of like if you take a flex ball and you were to kind of do this, you would actually, it would get warm, and that's what happens to Io. All right. And then after Io, we have Europa. Again, we're talking about Jupiter. That's the second moon, Galilean moon. And so, here's some bit about Europa. Now, Europa is definitely different than Io. Europa actually begins a couple of moons that we think actually has liquid underneath the surface. Okay? So, that's pretty cool. And then after Europa comes Ganymede and Callisto. Okay? So Io, Europa, Ganymede, and Callisto. Those are the 4 Galilean moons that orbit Jupiter. So, kind of like Europa, they think that actually there might be liquid water underneath their surfaces, I think. And these are big objects. Looks like you got Waldo. Okay. Now moving on to Saturn. And Saturn has 60-some moons. Okay, Saturn has a bunch of moons that orbit it. Saturn also has the whole ring thing going on.
All those moons are from those things like.
What's that?
All those moons are from them hitting each other, right?
All the
Things
rings
like
come from like moons hitting each other? Is that what you mean?
No, like all the moons are.
Capture
All the-
planets. That's what she should be.
Oh. Well, I meant like all the moons like around, could just have like 60-some moons. That all comes from like something hitting each other. And then
Well,
like, that's
actually, kind of like we talked about in the previous unit, the moons probably came like even before our solar system turned on. Basically, there was the solar nebula, and the gas giants basically had their own like little swirl of material that turned into moons. So, yeah. Titan, we have landed on Titan, and actually this down here is a picture of landed on Titan and taking some pictures. Okay, so Titan is an important moon orbiting Saturn, and Titan has an atmosphere, kind of shown up there. I think it talked about. I think the video maybe talked about Titan. I don't know. Right. So sticking with Saturn and Saturn's medium moons, so Titan is a large moon. These are some of Saturn's medium moons. I can't remember, we watched the Brian Cox film flick last week, it seems like, or maybe 2 weeks ago, this formation of our solar system. But remember, he was really excited about Enceladus, okay, Enceladus with the geysers, and they showed this Brian Cox out there, and okay. So Enceladus actually is a medium moon that orbits Saturn. And you can kind of see these tiger stripes that he talked about for Enceladus. This one, Mimas, looks like the Death Star, right? Okay. Let's see, what else we got? Now we get to the blue planets, okay? And the video talked about the Voyager flybys to get some good pictures of Neptune. Yep. So the blue planets, I like the video because it kind of showed you how they found. Well, they talked about how they found the blue planets, Uranus first and then Neptune, and they talked about how they found the rings around Uranus, which I think is really cool. So Triton is one of Neptune's large moons, and it's got this cantaloupe terrain. Really? Okay. So you got that? Okay. And kind of side by side, this kind of talks about, this is a picture of Mars, okay? Like, what's that have to do with anything? And this actually is just a picture of, looks like one of the Galilean moons over here on the right, okay? So you're like, there actually is some similarity between those large moons that orbit the gas giants and our inner terrestrial planets. There's similarities, but there's differences, so it kind of highlights those. and kind of finish up with the topic of rings around the planets. So the video focusing only kind of on Uranus and Neptune, but I think he did a good job of kind of walking you through how was it Neptune was maybe gonna get a new moon when, or excuse me, get a new ring when its moons collided. Yeah. So kind of on the right there, you see Jupiter, Saturn, Uranus, and Neptune with kind of their rings. All right, last slide. Okay, so that was rings in general, and this is actually just Saturn's rings. Okay, but all gas giants have rings. And I'm not doing it this semester, but sometimes actually some textbooks will kind of talk about kind of the ring structure, and actually each ring has a different name. If you're ever up at the observatory, actually this right here is called the Cassini division in the rings. That's kind of some nice to see sometimes. All right, that's all I got. So we're done. Okay, so only this chapter is due next week.
To be 7 and 8.
Oh, that's right, 7 and 8, thank you, 7 and 8.
That little hope that I had.
You're right, it came true.